And it is exciting to be able to introduce you to Sagar Dhaka. He is the president of the Mars Society South Asia chapter. And I have had the pleasure of working with him for the past 2 years, supporting all the activities that they do in India. And he has been doing some really amazing, great things. Sagar and his team in India put together the Indian Rover Challenge and do an incredible job. They have even managed to continue with remote competitions in the recent months. Well done, Sagar, and welcome.
Thanks a lot for introducing me, Lucinda. The Mars Society South Asia. We are just new in this field. Last year on 2nd of September, we came into existence. But before that, in last 2 years, 2018 and 2019, we were into rover challenges. In fact, to start with, I was part of a rover design team known as Mars Rover Manipal. And it was way back in 2016. At the time, I was in my second year of engineering. And one day I was just passing by academic block 5 and I saw one banner there for recruitment of a rover team. So I gave the written test and then I got a call for interview and I was selected into the team. Then for 5-6 months after that, I was working in the task phase, then got into the main team in 2017. And during that time, the team was performing really good. We participated in URC in 2016, 17 and 18. And after that, a new competition was started in India. It was IRC Indian Road Challenge 2018. And at the time, the competition took place in VIT Vellore, which is near Chennai in southern India. And our team went to the competition and we got the first position in the competition. And it was a one-time competition. Nobody had any plan to continue that competition. Then after that, we decided to take up the initiative and we started the competition in Manipal in next year in 2019. So now coming to IRC Indian Road Challenge. So it's only for its kind competition which is happening in Asia. The first objective which we had in our mind regarding competition was to provide a platform to the teams which are coming from Asian countries. When we look at the teams from India, Bangladesh, and now in recent past, we have seen teams from Sri Lanka, Singapore. And so it's very difficult for teams to go from India to USA or European countries. In fact, the cost of traveling, the cost of shipment of a rover from Asian countries to USA is 3 times the cost they spend on making a rover. So that was our primary objective. So the competition has 3 different stages. The first stage is rulebook. We generally release the rulebook in the month of July and August. And then we come to system review round. And in this round, we have a 5-minute video and 12-page report. And after this, we select a certain number of teams for the finals. And then those teams compete in the finals in 4 different field tasks. In fact, in the beginning in 2018 and 2019, we took a lot of help from Kevin Sloan, the director of URC, and Daryl Robertson. And that was a great help. And because of that exposure, we decided to continue the competition in the coming years. So this was on 26 July 2018. This was the rulebook launch for Indian Rover Challenge 2019, which happened in Manipal. So when I was doing this, I was the event manager for the competition. So the one thing which I realized was, see, it's very difficult to manage these kinds of events. There are n number of technical things which can go wrong. And yes, I was reading rule books before this, but reading a rule book and compiling a rule book is altogether a different thing. But I had a great team, and with the support of the team, we were able to put up a great rule book. It was liked by the teams, and slowly we kept on progressing. Now in the competitions, we have 4 main tasks. The first one is ERDT, extreme retrieval and delivery task. Second one, equipment servicing, autonomous task, and science task. So we have divided in 3 days. The first day is ERDT, and the second day we have equipment servicing, autonomous together, and the last day we keep it for science. Now, when we talk about these 4 tasks, we always want to have a good site, a site where we can design things with complete liberty and can have enough space so teams can perform freely. So it was a big challenge. As you all are aware, India is very, very crowded, and it's very difficult to find an area to simulate Mars. So in the beginning, we went with this plan, the plan which you can see here. You can even see a lot of trees there, but after 5-6 months, these trees were cut down, and then we had a really good site for IRC 2019. In fact, this was the meeting. It was in August 2018 when we decided this, when we finalized this plan, and you can see all the administrative people from the Institute Manipal. So the extreme retrieval and delivery task. So this task is happening on the first day, and it's one of the most challenging tasks physically for the rover. You can see here the rover, the winning rover of IRC 2019, is traversing rocky garden. So this rocky garden, we have a special kind of rocks. Here you can see it more clearly. So that rover has to traverse over this. And then we have ditches. At that time, we had 0.8 meter ditch. And here you can see it was after the competition. The teams were just traversing these hills. And there was an astronaut here during the time of competition. So teams had to race to that astronaut. And it looks really easy now because somebody's controlling from the remote. But during the time of competition, the person is sitting inside the base station. He is not able to see the outside area. And the only thing he has is the camera feed. And because of that, he has to, from that, he has to control the entire rover. And that's get very, very difficult. And second task, equipment servicing task here, it is designed to help astronauts on future Mars missions. We have different kinds of knobs, switches, which the rover has to work on. So it is designed in such a way to check the capability of the robotic arm of the rover. In fact, in last edition in IRC 2020, we even had typing for the rover. In fact, only 2 teams were able to do it. It was very, very difficult, and we even plan to continue with the same in next edition also. And this was autonomous task. It was in IRC 2020. Here, it is divided into 2 parts. The first part, the teams can have teleoperations and they can use scouting. And the second part, the last stage, the third stage, they have to be completely autonomous. And the rover has to race to these tennis balls. And in fact, for the very first time, we even use arrows for the direction of rovers. And then we have one of the most important tasks, the science task. In fact, it is the most interesting one. Here the team has to take samples from the dedicated site, and then they have to do analysis and certain experiments to come to know the habitability or whether extinct life was there and whether extinct life is there on the surface. And after this round, we have the one final presentation dedicated for science. So this task is divided into 2 parts. Here you can see the drill. In fact, on Mars, there are different kinds of rocks which are very difficult to drill. And some teams, for example, this team from Poland, they were using an electrical drill, which was very, very effective. So coming to IRC 2019, it happened from January 9 to 12 in MIT Manipal. And we got registrations from 32 teams. We selected 16 teams for the finals, and 10 teams participated. And we had around 300 participants then. And this was a winning team, Team Anveshak from IIT Madras, Chennai. In fact, it was their first IRC appearance. Now, this was a photo. I call it my favorite photo. And we worked, the entire team worked for around 7 to 8 months to reach to this level. And it was on 12th of January last year. Now coming to this year's edition, the IRC 2020 happened from January 17 to 20 in VIT Chennai. And this event was a huge success. The platform which we created in 2019 was capitalized in a very good way. We got 35 registrations. We invited 20 teams for the finals, and 16 teams turned up. And out of those 16 teams, the best part was there were 4 teams which were competing for the first time. So we are very happy to see that we were able to get new teams to the competition. In fact, the process is continuing. And this year, even during lockdown, we have seen 4 to 5 new teams coming up for the future editions of IRC. We have got a lot of queries for the next edition from teams which were not active earlier. And this was the winning team, AJ Space Systems from Poland in IRC 2020. And yes, this is me and Harshit. Actually, we started this thing by sending a mail to Lucinda. It was in March last year. We thought, let's do this thing. And this was during the meet and greet session in IIT 2020. You can see all the rows. And the best thing which I like about this is every row is different from each other. When we compare our competitions with other competitions in student communities, like we have Society of Automotive Engineers, we have Baha competitions, we have student formula competitions, but they're all those cars, all those drones, they look quite similar. But here, some rovers are having 4 wheels, some are having 6 wheels, and it's entirely different. No two teams have similar kind of rovers. So that's really good to see the final photo for IIT 2020. And this was the photo with the winning teams. In center, you can see Team Warsaw from Poland, AGS Space Systems, and then Team Rudra from SRM Chennai and the organizing committee. And there's one more thing which is different about IRC is that it is a competition by the students for the students. Every year we try to host the IRC in a college which has a rover team. And the people who were making the rovers, those people come into organizing committee and then they organize this competition. So that's a really different part when we compare it with the other competitions. So this year, after the coming of coronavirus, all the teams got affected and it was a very challenging time. So there was a competition which was in my mind from last 2 years. In fact, we even planned to do something similar in IIT 2019 also as a subset of IIT 2019. But at the time, we did not have that kind of experience. And now we had that experience and we even try to take the chance. So that competition is known as Indian Rover Design Challenge. So it started in July this year, and it's the first entirely virtual competition of Rover Challenge series. And the response which we got from the team was overwhelming. We got 30 teams from 7 countries across 3 continents. So this competition was quite different from the other rover competitions. There were certain things which we were observing from last 3 to 4 years in rover challenges. For example, a lot of teams, as it is a competition, they come to win the challenge. So in that, they bypass a lot of things. So there are a lot of things on the rover which can be designed to better suit Martian conditions. So here in Indian Rover Design Challenge, the teams were asked to design a rover which can function on Mars. So they had to dig deep and they had to again refer the books, research papers to design the rovers. Here you can see some of the designs. This left one is from Team Rudra of SRM. Here you can see the teams are using solar panels. In IRC, they go with the batteries, LiPo batteries, and lithium-ion batteries. So here team had to do everything from scratch. The radiation level mass is different, the temperature, because the IRC is happening in Earth conditions. Now, when we talk about Mars, it's entirely different. And our plan is to have the problem statement of IRDC coming to IRC after 3-4 years. So we see a convergence point where we slowly with time, gradually increase the difficulty level of IRC so that teams can also adapt themselves in that time. And this you can see, the left one is from a team from Italy, Team Dyna. And this right rover is from Team Darbar from Bangladesh. So now, as it was a design challenge, we also had innovation awards. For example, team from USA, Michigan, they had a really good power system. And for manipulator drive systems and science system, we gave different award so that in the coming editions, we can expect teams to improve their designs in subdomains also. Because when we look about IRC, the teams take it as a one competition. They see it as a 4 task and the entire competition. But when it's come to Indian Rover Design Challenge, there is no particular task. The rover has to be such that it is adaptable on Mars. So with that kind of approach, they give their designs. And for this, we have engineering design review, which was a 26-page report, which team submitted, which included all the CAD models, calculations from the teams. And on the basis of that, the judges took a call about the designs of the teams, and then we shortlisted the teams for the first three and for the innovation awards. Now we know that URC is happening from 2007 onwards. It's quite a time, the 13 years. When I look back and observe this, at the time I was, I think, in class 5th or 6th, and I did not have any idea about rovers. But again, when we think from the perspective of a student, we see that our community is not that built. In fact, there is no as such a term known as rover community. But in the recent past, we have seen a lot of new teams coming. There are around 100 active teams in the world now, which are building rovers every year. If not every year, alternative year, they are coming to the competitions. So last month in September, from 12 to 14, we host MARTCon, Mars Rover Teams Conference. And again, it was kind of test. We had plans for 2021, but then we thought, like, let's do it this year itself. And it was attended by 30 teams from 7 countries. And during the conference, we decided to form a consortium, and this is known as Consortium of Mars Rover Teams. So right now what's happening is there's hardly any transfer of knowledge and ideas from one team to another. So in the long term, we plan to have a very gelled up community where teams can have communication among them, so that it will be beneficial for everybody. And it will definitely help the new teams which are coming, which find it very difficult to build the first rover. Now, there's one more event which we are organizing at the end of this month. It is known as International Mars Hackathon. When we look at our other competition, IRC, IRTC, all those competitions are designed for the rover teams. The first reason was that I myself come from a rover team, and the entire board of Mars Society South Asia, all are 4 members of rover teams. So the first plan was to establish competitions for them and to have a platform for them where they can perform. Now, to improve the skills, to improve the level, to improve the knowledge, we wanted to have a hackathon. So here, it's not just about rovers. This time we have in the problem statement kept things like agriculture on Mars and space administration and management. So we wanted to have an overall approach towards Mars and space. I think it will be a really, really good initiative in the long term. In fact, the registration is still going on, and I was surprised to see a lot of registration from the teams which we don't know. And even the teams which don't have a rover, they're also participating in it. So the plan is to have it in a 2-day, 48 hours competition. And after the 48 hours, we will have the evaluation of the solutions and approaches provided by the team. So if any one of you is interested, please register on our website, southasia.marssociety.org. Now, as we said, Mars Society South Asia, we have very close intact relationship with the teams from Sri Lanka and Bangladesh and even Singapore now. And so there is one different case with Sri Lanka. They have a rover team which came last year. But the difference is the team is one, but there are 11 colleges involved in making one rover. Because they did not have resources, and one college was not able to come with a rover team. So they combined 11 colleges, and those students from 11 colleges are together part of a single team, and then they are making a rover. In fact, they registered for IRC. Last year they were unable to come, and they participated in IRDC, and they achieved 14th rank. That was really, really good for the first time team. Now in November this year, we are hosting again a hackathon in Sri Lanka. It will be in Colombo, and it will be in collaboration with SET Sri Lanka. So this is going to be a different one for people who are in Sri Lanka. And in fact, the Act in Space, it is supported by European Space Agency and French Space Agency. It was supposed to take place in February and April, but because of Corona, it got delayed, and now it's taking place in November. Now, I have some announcements to make. The first one is that we are getting 2 new chapters of Mars Society in India in January. The first one is in SRM Institute of Technology. The first rover team from India is from this institute, SRM, and the team is known as Team Rudra. They came third in IRC this year, and they have been participating in rover challenges since last 5-6 years. The team was established in 2012. Now they are coming up with a new chapter there, and the host institute of IRC 2020 VIT, they are also starting a chapter soon. Now this is something which we are working on right now, and it is at the top of our priority list, as we have seen that in the recent past there have been a lot of talk about Mars helicopters. We have seen that even Bob Balram was speaking before me, and this is a new field where students would like to participate. So we're trying to host one competition which is known as just a second. Yes. So we are planning to host this competition in February 2021. We have already started the work, and we have got some people from Society of Automotive Engineers Aero Design competitions working with us. So we plan to host it virtually next year, and after that, from 2022 onwards, we plan to make it an online a field event along with IRC. And now, because of pandemic, we have seen that teams are facing a lot of difficulties, and particularly in South Asia, it's very difficult for a rover team to get sponsorship and funds. So we have decided that we will create a rover team support fund from this year onwards, and we will be supporting 1 or 2 teams every year, and it will be based on a lot of certain guidelines which we will release in our next Mars Rover Teams conference. And we will definitely looking forward to support more and more teams once we get mature, and we even plan to come up with new competitions to support the teams. Right now we're in the building phase, and we are trying to do as many good things as possible. But as I said, it's a testing phase. Once we get settled, I think by next year, we will be able to host more competitions. Yes, thank you. You can follow us on Instagram, marssociety.southasia, and we are also there on Facebook and LinkedIn as Mars Society South Asia. For any queries, questions, suggestions, you can contact us anytime at contact@southasia.marssociety.org. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is so exciting to see everyone. My name is Carrie Faye, and I'll be asking your first question here. What support are you getting from tech companies?
So far, we haven't approached any company, and frankly, we are getting no support as of now. But our plan is to approach some companies from 2021 onwards. In fact, when I was working as a member of a rover team, we were getting a lot of sponsorship from good companies like Mauser and there are a lot of others. And even the companies which are into CNC, laser cutting, they were supporting rover teams. So now next year, we plan to have some sponsor for our events, which can support the teams and which can come take down their cost to a lower level so that they can spend more time on their rover rather than trying to get sponsorship for their project.
Okay. The second part to that question is, what do you want to get support on? For example, what help are you hoping to get in the future specifically?
See, we have 2 things in our mind. The first thing is to have sponsors which can support the team. That's the first thing which we want to do. And then in long term, we want to have a dedicated site where we can have our competition Indian Rover Challenge. Right now, the biggest challenge for us is that every year we have to develop a new site in a different institute. And it's get very, very difficult to organize in a different place. And so we want to have one dedicated site. And India has a lot of good places for this kind of Mars simulators. Ran of Kutch in Western India, that's a very good place. And then in Himachal, we have Laul and Spiti Valley. And then we have Ladakh area. So all those places are very suitable. And I think even the Indian government and even Indian Space Research Organization, they are looking at those places. So if they develop something, we will definitely getting help from that. And the second point is we plan to get one big support from the companies which are, I would say, the tech giants in India. For example, there are Mahindra, Maruti, and Reliance. They are supporting some very big competitions. So far, we haven't been able to get those companies into rover field. One reason is we haven't approached those big companies yet. And the second reason is it's not in their field, because when it comes to car, all the automotive companies, they are there. When it comes to even other competition, even they're having competition for these tractors, the farming tractors. So there also we had a lot of sponsors. But now that I think time has changed. In the past 3-4 years, we have seen a lot of private companies related to space coming in India. In fact, one of them was finalist in Google Challenge also. So these are two things. The first, the sponsors for the teams, so that they can reduce their cost, the amount they're spending on the rover. And the second one is to have a permanent partner in hosting our competitions, because right now it's very, very difficult for us to manage this every year.
Very inspiring, Sagar. I'm going to ask you to actually share your last slide again. That way people know that they can, how to contact you, because we do have some questions here about, well, some people saying yes, awesome work, they're, you know, and others wanting to still get in contact with you. So go ahead and share that last screen so that people know. And I, as executive director of the Mars Society and someone who's worked in the last 5 years to grow the chapters around the world for the Mars Society, along with our chapter director, Nora Hovey, you know, Sagar has done a fantastic job. Sagar, can you just say which countries you represent in South Asia?
I am from India, and right now I'm living in New Delhi. And like I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart the entire Mars Society USA. And like when I got introduced to URC in 2016, at the time I did not imagine that I would be doing this thing after 4 years. In fact, I was member of management domain. I was working completely non-technically. But when I left the college, I realized that this is a good thing and we should continue it so that the teams and the students who are involved in this, they can get advantage. But yes, all of this is possible because of support from you, Lucinda, James, and like I think I'm the person who disturbs him most in the world. Whenever I get time, I just message him, and he's also very, very supportive. And I think in the coming years, with your support, we will be able to do even the bigger events, and we'll continue to do this.
I think you've got lots of really great support there with the universities that you've told me that, and us today, that are willing to work with you. And that's obviously because of such a great job that you've done working with them. So you are definitely a part of the Mars Society family. There's a question here about that, whether you're registered in India and are you part of Mars Society USA? You absolutely are one of our chapters in the world, as we do have many and we're growing. What do you, I just want to thank you so much for all the remote work that you've been doing, especially through the pandemic and keeping it going, and just the great you know, effort you have made for yourself in India and your team. But I wanted you to actually say so Mars Society South Asia, which countries in South Asia are those?
See, in South Asia, we have 8 countries. The first is India. And then in Indian Ocean, we have Maldives and Sri Lanka. And then we have 2 Himalayan countries, Bhutan and Nepal. And then we have Pakistan and Afghanistan. So these are the countries which we have in South Asia. And right now, there's one more thing which I would like to highlight. A lot of queries from a lot of people from a lot of countries regarding joining Mars Society South Asia. In fact, we wanted that thing to happen long back ago, but because of our competition, we did not get time. Now in November, we are planning to have a recruitment. The people, whether they are from technical domain or they are from non-technical domain, that doesn't matter. If they are interested to join us, they can join as a volunteer. In fact, my entire team and me, we are working as a volunteer here. And we would definitely like to have support from people from other countries. In fact, 2 days back, we were getting one query from Vietnam, and that was really, really encouraging. And as you mentioned about the universities, yes, in fact, the events which happened in last 2-3 years, it was because of the support from the universities, and they have been very, very proactive when it comes to student competition. And that is the reason this kind of events are happening. And along with universities support, the moment we get the support from the industry, I think it would be a really, really good platform for the teams, and it would be sustainable in the long term.
Well done, Sagar. Thank you so much for sharing all of this work and hard work with us.